How about now? Is there sound? Is there sound? Anybody? Thank you for telling me last times. I have technical difficulties. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Part of it's probably my internet. Um, I'll wait a little bit. Hmm. There's someone listening. Could you tell me if you can hear me now? All right. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should just go carve. Maybe I'm not meant to be on stream. Um, all right. I'll talk art. Oh, it sounds good. Yes. Thank you. What's up, Lee? Okay. Um, Mr. Lee, sir, would you ask me a question to get me started or make a statement? Or should I just wing it? I forgot where I was. All right, I'll start with the art. This is an art chair. Oh, this is Auryn. Um, or first I'll show you the front side of Ouroboros. Oh wait, I'm getting Auryn. Oh, that's Auryn. This is the front side of Ouroboros. Okay, these are the Ouroboros start with art and wing it. You know as much as yeah, I know. I don't want to. I don't. I want to. Yeah. So all right, we're gonna start with art. That's my father back there. He's cutting the grass. I asked him not to. He doesn't think this is work for me. It's like, well, you're out carving wood and talking on the phone. I was like, I'm not even talking on the phone. Anyway, all right, this is Auryn, okay? This is the Auryn head. And if you see, it's right on the back side of the Ouroboros head, okay? The thing is with this piece is it has snake eyes everywhere. Snakes and snake eyes everywhere, okay? And so it was perfectly ah, constructed, um, perfectly constructed to create a derivative asset out of the one. So out of the one, we make two, which are interconnected, which is, I think, like what we've done with Ouroboros. Okay. So, okay, why is ORX pumping? Well, the chart is always like it's reflective of sentiment. More buyers than sellers. That's it. And so at this point in time, I think there's, I don't want to call it FOMO, fear of missing out, but it is a waking up. It's a waking up to the possibility that there's an opportunity to get into a shadowy production version 2, which is what Auryn is. And so, like, what I'll say is that nothing I'm saying is definitive or the end all, the be all. This is my effort to glean what I'm learning in our publicly accessible chats, right? And so the message is anybody that hears this that's interested in, like I just saw on my YouTube. I don't look at my YouTube channel, but I probably should because there are people that ask questions and make comments. Somebody just saw me talking about Auryn, and they said, "Well, where can I buy Auryn?" And the first answer is we can't buy Auryn yet. Eventually, once it launches, people will be able to buy Auryn. but there will also be a minting process utilizing ORX. So that's why I think ORX is pumping now, is because people are waking up that there's going to be a need to have ORX to get into Auryn. Okay? So that's why now Auryn is a derivative asset that's not fully defined for me or anyone else. And Shadowy's in the process of building it, literally, as I carve and as our chat goes wild, right? And we're all, but it's good. We're in a really good place there because it's a vibrant, multiple layered chat. And so there is an Auryn chat. And I would say for anybody interested in Auryn, don't think about buying it because you can't. Think about at this stage getting educated. And I would say go into the Telegram and read what what Shadowy is describing that he's building. And then I'm going to try my best to synthesize what that is, and then and leave the rest to the white paper or whatever documentation shows up in the next period of time. And so I think it'll be a 1 to 2 to 3 week period before the Auryn launch. And I only say that because that's what I heard this morning in the chat, but that's not definitive either. But there is an opportunity now to go get educated, right? And so let me try to describe. Say I've written it down, not the numbers. I did write some numbers on the other page, but the numbers are for me. I'm doing the numbers in my head now, and I'm writing them down in my notebook. So let me try to describe the stablecoin network that Auryn is going to be the fee sharing token for. Okay. First, let's think about the technology a little bit, and then let's think about, okay, how does Auryn, the token, fit into that? So the idea here is that ORX token is the token associated with the Titanx incubator, right? The Auryn token is the token associated with the global expansion of the technology. The technology, the core technology is the USDX protocol, stablecoin, and it's like scalable. I don't want to talk about how it gets scalable, but basically through adoption of new collaterals and new communities that come with the collateral assets and even new chains, right? And so that's, I think, what the network, like the stablecoin network of Ouroboros, starts to look like when the technology starts spreading to other collateral assets, other protocols and communities, and each of those sort of onboarding of a collateral asset, a community, into the borrowing and lending protocol and into the staking protocol. Each of them will come with revenue, and we'll see. Well, I think we're going to have to wait to see what happens in terms of the strategic alliances that get set up in the network, right? And so that's what we're going to see unfolding. But in order to get there, in order to get to the to where we are right now, we needed first a stepping stone. First we had the ORX vesting that started back in October, right? Then we had the USDX launch around January or something, stablecoin launch. And then what Shadowy has saw was the need for the staking platform, which is going to be, it's ready to launch. It's going to, as I understand it, going to launch with Auryn, and a new fresh brand, right? And so whenever Auryn launches, I think we'll see the rest of this next phase of the Ouroboros launch happen. So it's weeks, right? That's the idea. And so that's why it's pumping today. And I think it's going to be a consistent more buyers than sellers, especially because um, when we have Auryn launching, we're going to have people like me that are going to want to consider early claiming, right, my ORX vest in order to get into Auryn. So that's the whole game within a game that those of us who are experienced in the Ouroboros protocol and in vesting schedules, that's why I'm starting to talk about it for other people so that other people understand how, if I wanted to get into this protocol and if I really wanted to take advantage of the global expansion of, or it's the potential, take advantage of the global potential of the Ouroboros protocol, how would I do that? And I think the way to do it is to get your hands on ORX, right? I would always say buy the dips, right? We've had a lot of time to buy the lows of ORX. We've had anybody that's been paying attention. I've been talking about Ouroboros for, I don't know, 14 months something, or whenever it showed up, right? But, so we've had a lot of time, but now we're not at the lows anymore. But it's at the beginning of the exponential growth cycle. This is a bullish trend for Ouroboros. This is what, Shadowy is kicking off with this Auryn launch. And so let me try to describe what Auryn is and how we get Auryn. The first thing is that, and I made notes, I'm going to read it off. Auryn, we're going to mint Auryn, and it's the Auryn, and this is sort of a quote. It uses the vesting logic from ORX. It's not going to be the same vesting schedule. It's going to be a more expedited vesting schedule. So I can put in my ORX to the smart contract, right? And let's say a fully vested Auryn is, I don't know, 90 to 180 days, something like that. That's just my guess. I have no idea. But let's say, I'm going to mint Auryn. Now I can claim it early after a certain amount of time, just like we could have claimed Ouroboros early, right? And so we're going to mint it using the vesting logic from Ouroboros, but it's going to be a compressed schedule with a shorter vesting schedule. Okay. Now, that's how we get Auryn. I don't even want to get into yet until and so that's why I wanted to take the pressure off. There's no fear of missing out here. There's no missing out. We have time if we start to educate ourselves and make a good decision. Like for me and for the people that I represent, Ouroboros has been a transcendent investment opportunity, right? It's just transcended all of my hopes and aspirations for it. Truly, it's exceeded it. All right, way exceeded it. And I also got very attached to my vesting ORX. What Auryn has done is it gives people who are holding liquid ORX the opportunity to get exposure to the long-term upside of the technology and the protocol. So that makes Auryn, even if I don't think about the token economics because I don't know about them, I know it's going to be capped in its supply because it's going to come from cap supply ORX. I don't know how it'll be distributed or how it'll be burned or how that'll all come. But for me, in terms of my strategic thinking about, why do I keep ORX? Why might I mint Auryn? It's really got me thinking, and I have made no decisions because I haven't seen all the information yet. I can't make a decision, but I've already written down in my own mind, like what I'm going to do, right? Just because I'm learning fast and digesting it and also thinking for other people. Like what I find, like some people don't like I'm not managing other people's crypto. How I do it for other people is I just gift. Like when I have an abundance of something, I gift it to people. Just like my art, I gift my art, right? And so, like it's like the most abundant thing other than my son I've always ever created. Really is like the art, and I like to give it away. Same thing with crypto, right? I know how to stack crypto. I know how to like find early gems like Ouroboros and like accumulate it. I've learned how to do that, and so in the process, I build strategies for, my family and friends, right? So, and I have to say that I think differently about the bag when it's someone else's versus my own, and so that's why I separate them. Because I'm willing to do some things on my own that I'm not willing to do for others. Maybe to take higher risk or to make a play that takes some management. Because for other people, I want it to be simple. I don't have to think about it. Yeah. So for all those people, I've already decided that it's 50-50. Only because now I might change my opinion, but what I'm thinking is that like for my son, for example, he'll if I do 50-50, he's got like OG ORX, which is going to be very scarce. It's like it's a legacy token that I think is going to be very valuable, especially as people start to build on. It's going to be very scarce, and so I'm going to want to hold it, like, or for my son, I'm going to want to hold. So, and then, but the other half, and I'll have to figure out when. I'll probably let his stuff fully vest because it's like I can do it October 15th or something because like it's a day one or it's mint that I can probably let go until the end and then mint, hold half of it and then half of it just, put into the Auryn protocol. That's probably what I'll do for other people, unless something rock hits me and it's like really no, like actually ORX is going to be explosive price wise, which I think it could be this next 3-6 months when after Ethereum hits all-time high. I mean, the altcoin market is going to take over, and the ignition that the Ouroboros has in terms of the buy and burn and all of the bullish dynamics that are coming into Ouroboros, we're going to blow away the market. And so I think the Ouroboros token in the next period of time could see crazy growth, right? So I think so. People are asking, well, what's the value of Ouroboros now? If the long-term global aspiration is in Auryn and the fee share is that, well, what's in it? Well, what's in it is like core value asset. It's the base asset. It's going to be needed for Auryn. You're going to need it for Auryn and for anything else that builds on ORX. Auryn could be enough, but maybe there are other, and so you're going to need it. So that's really good. It creates demand equation on ORX. And I also think in the short term, for people that want to take profits, like my son will say, hey, Dad, can I do like long-term passive income in Orem? And like, could we sell on the way up? Is there any reason at all you wouldn't let your ORX fully vest? I think we're right on track for October unlock coupling with market run. Yeah. I mean, I mean, personally, I will, I mean, I think the question that you're asking is a good one. The question is there any reason at all you wouldn't let your ORX fully vest? I think you were right on track for October unlock coupling with the market run. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people will do is like want to get the max amount of Ouroboros and wait. But we'll see what I mean, because the distribution curve, and we'll see. I don't know yet. Like it could be like it's really worth my while to early claim something because if you look at the curve, it's starting to go vertical. Like in another 3 weeks, you know, day one mints will be 80% vested, right? And so we'll see what the other, curve is for getting into Auryn. I mean, personally, I will let most of my things um, mature, but I suspect that there are going to be some early claims, like a few early claims, so that I can um, be a day one Auryn, because I don't have liquid ORX to speak of. I have a little bit, but not, and so I think it will be worth my while in a few weeks, probably to claim a few early, not just for myself, but for others. Because then, like for my son, for example, if you're really in it for the long, like I'm in it for him, he's going to want immediate cash. He's going to want cash flow to like do something with. But for me, I'll that's why his ORX will probably be to sell, into this bull run, right? And to capture value and put it into USDX and get more ORX, right? So even if we're selling the ORX, it's to stabilize the value, into USDX and probably put it into the backstop pool or maybe, into the staking platform. We'll see. All of this will emerge. And that's why I don't know. I don't think we can know until we look at the vesting schedule and the token economics. And so yeah, I could see a reason though to early claim some, right? Okay. I got a little distracted, but that's okay. So basically, okay, so it's a minting with the vesting logic similar to Ouroboros. So I would say anyone new, like like this is very early stage, close to the bottom of like an exponential growth opportunity, in my humble opinion. It doesn't mean it'll be successful long term. And I feel like it's one of the like plays in crypto in DeFi that are are crazy opportunities for risk and return. I think a lot of the risk, of course, thank you, Trust. I think a lot of the risk, there is more risk. Always there's risk in growth. Okay. But the heaviest risk for a protocol is the early risk. And the fact that ORX distribution has happened so beautifully and that we are where we are with the community that we have is amazing, especially when the market has tanked. And so like that was the first test, which is Ouroboros has outperformed everything else, right, in our ecosystem. And then USDX was the next test. Can you do a stablecoin attached to these highly volatile, low liquid, which is the magic that Shadowy has done, honestly. It is the innovation. When people said you can't do it, well, he's done it, right? And it's not that it's forever, but it has demonstrated product market fit and security, and it operates, and it's amazing, right? And so what we have is product market fit in a huge market, right? Okay, so Auryn. So for newcomers, like for existing people, it's going to be a question about, and I think we're in the know enough so that we can study for the next week or two and decide for self. Do I buy ORX? Don't get FOMO. Wait for a time when people are selling before launch. Maybe there are none, but don't get FOMO. It's not fear of missing out. It's making a strategic investment decision, right? So, okay. So the ORX token is going to be explosive. Okay. In the chat this morning, someone described Auryn as a volcano, right? Okay. We'll see how that plays out. I want to see the white paper for the for the volcano, right? That's how it was described. I want to see it because I want to see the detail. And so I'm psyched. And it's coming pretty soon. Um, and I have some speculation about it, but I don't want to get into speculation about Auryn and the potential stablecoin network because that's what I know least about, but I also think it's the biggest potential. So that's why Auryn, that's why people are now probably speculating on Auryn because of the stablecoin network potential, the network effect of what Shadowy is building, but there's been a community takeover. Like I saw in the chat, he said that the documents are being written as we speak by the community, right? That's cool, man. That's like the lead dev is part of the community. Like he has critical responsibility, but it can't all be on him anymore. That's the idea. This is what he's like modeling for us. Here's how we do it. He's also and this is why the opportunity, this is I do believe this is a transcendent like investment opportunity. This is me as the human for me and my friends and people that who come and talk to me. And part of it is shadowy. It's the founder, builder, dev, experienced product person who really knows crypto, liquidity. And I think what we're going to see, this is the thing that I'm really interested in. And even though I've been learning, I don't know, this is like the mystery of the private relationships that drive all exponential growth, right? And so I think what we'll see after the launch of um, the new facelift, right? Like when Shadowy's gonna like launch his once he launches his front end, like our new front end, that's when I'm gonna start sanding. I'm gonna start sanding this and staining it. Okay. Um, and then probably by the end of the Auryn vesting schedule, I'll be done with the dot painting. I already see how this piece looks, right? Now it's gonna like It's like anything. If something happens to me, like my son is like, Dad, like what happens if like if, I'm like, yeah, well that's always it's like the artist risk, the founder risk, it's always like the risk, but that's why like in the Auryn realm, people are asking when. And we're right in the eye of the storm right now, right? We're right before Ethereum is going to take off and reach all-time high. Like the two bull runs that I'm really interested in are coinciding. One is the Ouroboros bull run, which follows the Ethereum one. But as you see, we're creating our own bullish sentiment, right? And this is one of the things that really attracted me to Ouroboros and Shadowy's thinking about Ouroboros. Early on, when I was asking him questions about bull and bear and and he was like, look, this is 24/7, 365 days a week, banking on the blockchain protocol, right? This is like what it is. And so, like, yeah, there will be bullish and bearish, but this is like a full-time operation, right? And so it's going to operate in bullish times, it's going to operate in bearish times, and it's going to take advantage of, of that reality. So that's the thing that I always loved about Shadowy's perspective about what he is building right now is that, and that's why for me, I'm definitely of the mind to take profits. I would prefer always to take profits without selling if possible, always, if possible, right? And that's why we'll see if that's possible with ORX. But as much of as I'm interested in taking profits and stabilizing it into stable assets that then I can even, you know, USDX is a perfect place, at least right now, where I can stake USDX, and make more vesting ORX. That's amazing. Because you know why? Because the Auryn minting will keep open, but it's going to be limited by the amount of supply of ORX there is. So if I'm still getting vesting ORX into the future, then I'm going to have a scarce asset into the future, right? And then I'll be able to, wow, there's a big heron, a blue heron, huge. That means that there's eagles around too. Huge blue herons fishing in the pond. Anyway, I got distracted. Yeah, okay. I got distracted, sorry. Okay, so Auryn, the revenue share. Oh, the revenue share is we don't know what it's going to be. And I don't even want to think about it yet. Okay? But it's the thing in big picture that I'm going to want to get exposure. I'm going to want for me and for my people to get exposure to the potential, right? And we'll see. I think what I was saying is we'll see when we see the first 1, 2, and 3 deployments of the technology, and we'll see the arrangements that have been negotiated, right? And one of the things that is really good for me to be part of this, because like as a user investor, this is the first time I've been inside a protocol or a real it's a user group community, it's a holder community. It's the first time I've ever been inside of it enough to see what's going on and enough to really understand um what's coming down the pike. And so that's why I think we're going to over index on education when we talk about Ouroboros. Um, there's going to be enough hype. There's going to be so much hype about ORX and about Auryn because it's going to be a darling for ETH whales. First of all, I think because it's something that ETH whales can wrap their heads around as one way to deploy Ethereum, right? And so that's actually good for Titanx too, because currently you still need to go through Titanx to get ORX, right? So that's good. But I do think that there are going to be other avenues for ETH whales to get Auryn. And I suspect that once we start to see the exponential growth potential in terms of total value locked. So think about it this way. The Titanx incubator is one thing. Think about the total value locked that's going to feed the Auryn pool, right? It's huge growth potential. And so that's why Auryn becomes an attractive asset because it's like the index. Now it could be the token. I don't know how it's going to I don't know if we're going to burn Auryn or if we're going to lock it. I don't know. We're going to see. But what it does is it represents like a percentage of the revenue pool, whatever that pool looks like. So yeah, it's very exciting. If one believes in the vision or likes the vision, you don't even really have to believe it. You just have to see it. Get on to the Ouroboros platform, start to play around, see if like holding ORX feels good. I love holding ORX, right? That's why for me it's like I've been thinking, I've been wrapping my head around how do I not sell it? And then one of the memes that came out of our group was you're not going to have to sell your ORX. I was like, perfect, right? How is that? And I realize now it's like, oh, I'm going to have to burn it. I'm going to have to put it into Auryn. And so that's why I've been going through like separation anxiety over the last, ever since it's only been a few days, but I've been studying Auryn for a few days and it feels like, I'm just now getting over my attachment issues with my ORX, right? Because I've been living with these vests for 365 days. And how I did it was I sort of I started day one, but I did a ladder just because it's like even though it wasn't the best deal, it doesn't matter. That's why I'm willing to wait for Auryn too. I don't need to be day one. It's not like the best. Sometimes the best is like to wait. Right. And so what I did was I waited. I went in day one in Ouroboros, but I was very consistent, basically between October 15th and I think January 15th. So it's like October to November, November to December, December to January, 3 months. I'll probably do the same thing here. I'll probably do 3 months. Maybe not. Maybe I'll do half of that. I'll do 6 weeks or something. Depends on when it launches, right? Of like gradually minting Auryn. So that's what I did. So for someone like me who's like has maturing ORX starting on October 15th, I will early claim some. If it launches soon, I'm going to early claim some just to get early exposure. Mostly for the people that want long term. Like if you want long term, you just want to hold it and have it and stake it and lock it or burn it or whatever. Right. Right. I have other notes. I have speculation, but I don't really want to go there. Okay, here's the okay, so the speculation, and there are some hints, but the speculation is there are new assets coming. That means there are new collaterals and new chains. Could be base chain, could be Sonic. If it's a new chain, I suspect it's going to be a not a partner, an alliance, like some sort of deal. I don't know. We'll let that stay where it needs to be now, which is between Shadowy, that is negotiating deals on behalf of the DAO and this community. Right? He's our lead deal maker, lead deal, and like he's got our blessing and authority to go do his thing. Right? Once I see a few of those deals, I'm gonna think it'll get my mind thinking about how does this grow, which is part of the reason why I like this protocol and I like the DAO and I like this community, because I can find a way to participate in a good way for me. I like the art of it, I like the meme of it, I like the protocol of it, I like the money of it, I like the fun of it, and I also like the sort of challenging my business strategic mind, like how to contribute to the exponential growth and make it sustainable, right? How to make it truly distinguished in the stablecoin network space. And I already see it. It's a scaling model that doesn't exist in the space. Shadowy has dreamed up a stablecoin as service model, right? And he's set up all of the fundamentals to have a scalable product suite, right? And now with ORX and Auryn, with ORX we've got governance, and with Auryn we have fee sharing in the global expansion. God. So that's why I want both for me and my people. And how I split it up will depend on nature. So here's what I expect the launch sequence to be. Okay, and I could be wrong. I'm speculating on this, but it's based on what I've learned about how Shadowy operates. And I started off, maybe this one or the last one, there was no time, but I said like Auryn is like opportunity to get day one in a Shadowy production, which I would encourage everybody to come get in the Auryn chat and get in a dialogue, right? Because then we'll see what it's like to be in a dialogue with the person that's building, right? It's very important, I think. So here's the launch sequence. There's going to be a pre-launch education period where Shadowy will release documentation. I don't know what the documentation will be. Likely a white paper, a written document, right? There's already private testnet for him and probably team. There will be documentation. It's probably being written now. It's being developed now. And then it'll be audited. And once that happens, once that's all in motion and Shadowy feels like it's the right time to share the white paper and his X education, right? He's going to have X education on Twitter. It's going to be written. It's going to educate people about what's, where we are and what's coming. And so that's the law, a white paper, an X education, and then Telegram education. Like that's like pre-launch, right? So it's not going to be a surprise. And so anybody that's paying attention or that hears about this and wants to get educated, there's a pre-launch phase, right? Then it's going to launch. So pre-launch, I don't know. I would say, like 10 days to a month, 10 to 30 days. That time frame. It could be before then, it could be after, but that's sort of what I'm thinking. Between 10 and 30 days, there will be a pre-launch, which is what we're starting now, education, even before the white paper. Like I'm getting out. I'm like have to talk about it because it's my way to digest it. Then we're going to see the launch of Auryn, which will come with a facelift of the Ouroboros platform and the staking platform all at once, I think. That's the launch, right? New user interface. It'll look a little different. It'll come with all kinds of Q&As and documentation. We're going to have the staking platform. There's no doubt going to be a big role for ORX and now for Auryn in the staking platform, right? And that's where we'll actually see it, like the front end of the blockchain. That's when the launch will happen. And that's also when the launch of minting will happen. It's when we'll be able to put our ORX into the smart contract and start vesting Auryn. And there'll be 3 input tokens, I understand, Ethereum, Titanx, and ORX, but the Ethereum and Titanx will buy ORX on the back end, right? And so ORX is the only thing that actually mints Auryn. So the launch, so there's pre-launch, then Auryn and the staking platform and the new UI, the user interface will launch, I think, all together. And then we're going to start to see new deployments, right? And that's why this is the beginning of this bullish cycle of demand on Ouroboros. At the same time, and I even forget about it. I don't really think about the buy and burns. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. I act as if they're not really there until they are being utilized. I see them as like a backing. But the ORX buy and burn, which has 4 trillion Titanx, are going to be used. And so there's going to be this explosive demand on ORX token that we're going to be seeing over the next weeks and months. And of course, it will be volatile. But a lot of the supply that's going to be coming onto the market, some will be sold. And that's good. We need sellers. And much of it that is in the hands of either liquid holders now or vesting ORX holders. A lot of the vesting ORX is going to, I think, go into the Auryn. I think it's what they call supply sink, right? So yeah, it's crazy bullish. And that's why it's pumping. Let me look. Okay. Oh man. Ooh. Okay, so ORX is in cents, it's 7 cents. Okay. Wow. Oof. It's yeah, it's up over 50% in the last 24 hours. Let's look at the volume. Strong volume. It's number 18 on Dex Screener. $158,000 in volume, which it's been very strong, relatively speaking, and nobody really is exposed to ORX, except for a few people who have started to hear about ORX outside of Titanx. In the Titanx ecosystem, it's small. Most everybody has heard of ORX, um, but outside of it, it's really an unknown. It's part of the reason why I think it's so undervalued as an asset, and I think it's good. I think it's good because it's given people who like it and believe in it the opportunity to become owners of vesting ORX and liquid ORX and feel a sense of ownership for because um, you know o- ORX is a fee sharing token of the incubator and its governance token, right? And is has gonna have crazy pumpamentals this cycle. It's hard for me to see RX long term. I can't see it, but I see the crazy pumpamentals this cycle. And then Auryn, I think is going to be. I think I said is going to be very attractive to people that want to stake in the long-term potential of Ouroboros. I think it's going to be very attractive to a lot of people. So we'll see. And so I think what the intent is to expand exponentially. And I think the new deployments, I think what we're going to see in the next period, in the next month, say, is a dynamic staking platform, a dynamic new interface, and a dynamic new token, Auryn. It's going to launch in the next month, right? And then after that, in the middle of like the Ethereum bull run, I think we're going to see some crazy new deployments and new collaterals that are going to give us credibility in the larger marketplace. And I think that's when we're going to see crazy FOMO. And I'm okay with the larger. I don't want to create FOMO now at all. I really don't, because I want like normal people to get an opportunity to get in before big money gets in. I do believe that big money is going to want into RX, but they're going to want Auryn for a variety of reasons, I think. So big money is going to need to get ORX to get Auryn. So yeah, I'm okay with there being FOMO for big money. Um, and we're not there yet, but I think we're close. And once we get uh, a few new deployments under our belt and can demonstrate total value locked, which is an exponential of what we're currently at, then it's like, right, yeah. So that's the speculation is that, and that is my speculation, is that we're going to see some surprising new deployments. And I'm saying this not out of any inside intelligence because I have none. Um, but I have been asking questions. And I truly have no idea what the next deployments are. I have no idea. But I think there are going to be some clout. There's going to be at least one clout deployment, at least one. I mean, there may be multiple, but I remember reading clout. The other is for revenue, right? Maybe there's clout and revenue, but like there are going to be new deployments for clout, for ORX and Auryn, but it's really the Ouroboros technology and the product suite, right? It's USDX, it's the staking platform, it's using the technology for collateral assets and community to get total value locked and fees, all feeding back into, you know, Auryn. all feeding back into Ouroboros. It's like it's a beautiful loop. All right. I have nothing else to say about crypto, and so I'm going to move on. I'm going to bring this back to its place and say good afternoon. Oh, yeah. Um, I know this was, or I felt like this is a little all over the place. If anybody is listening still and has any questions or comments or editorials, I'll stay on for another few minutes if anybody has anything. Okay. I would say for newcomers, if you have Ethereum or Titan X, I would say pay attention to the ORX price over the next week and dollar cost average. That's what I would say. Because that's the only way at this point, unless you've already got liquid ORX or vesting ORX, but for newcomers, it really is getting ORX before it explodes, either to just have it before it explodes, right? What is it, like 7 cents now? It had a bottom of like under 2 cents. So we're, like it was 2 cents a few days or weeks ago. It could come back down. It could or not. We don't know. But I do think that it is a transcendent opportunity, I would say, and I would say don't over invest. Understand the risks and the opportunities. And I would say this is a good time to dollar cost average into ORX if I want exposure, either more exposure or some. And if you don't have a lot of money right now, I would encourage you without if you don't have a lot of money, I would encourage you to say a little bit now into a long-term opportunity goes a long way. A little now, if we have a long-term mindset, like if I have like $100, let's say $250, I would buy ORX and then I would probably hold half of it and put half of it into Auryn with the idea that these are long-term hold opportunities. Long-term and like take your hands off of it for years. That's the sort of idea here for even in the bull run for, long-term bets, right? On exponential returns because look, $250 times a long-term 16,000x. Let's say 250 times 16,000. That's the thing. 250. If this is a 16,000x over 6 years, say, if ORX and Auryn, I'm gonna just combine them as like a 16,000x. That means a hold on. What is that? It was from the bottom. 2 cents times 16,000. Sorry for doing math like this. Okay, yeah, $320 ORX. Yeah, I could see that. right? And so, especially as the supply shrinks, and so let's say $250 times 60, even 10,000x. Let's say, yeah. So that's where $250 now. Some people will say, no, you want to sell it into the bull run, and maybe you do. Maybe if you get a 10x or a 20x or a 50x, you sell it in the bull run. But I wish with Aave, I did that. I bought Aave. I bought probably $1,000 worth of Aave, and I sold almost all of it at a 5x. I have like three Aave left. It's like worth, but it 16,000x. It took 6 years though. But I didn't even pay attention to it because I sold it all. Now, if I had held it, I would have had huge capital. And so that's why, like $250 now, the risk reward of $250 now, holding with the expectation that I'm going to hold it for 6, 7, 8 years or 4 or 5, whatever. That's where we can make crazy returns and take the pressure off. So that's what I would encourage someone with not a lot of money to do is use the money that you're willing to actually say goodbye to for 6 years and just put it into ORX and Auryn. And probably because I would be betting on the long-term growth of Auryn, I'd probably put 75% of it into Auryn and keep 25% in ORX, maybe to take profits or to hold for governance or something. Right? So yeah. So that's what I would say is like this is a long-term project. Even if you're doing it just for this bull run, understand that it's a long-term project and it's going to be developing even in the bear market. And there are going to be ways to play it to make money in the bear market, right? It really could be a passive income machine if we play our cards right in terms of the staking platform, Auryn, passive income, ORX, fee sharing. It really could be a passive income machine, which is really what I was looking for. When I started this bull run, there were two things that I was looking to do. Actually, I was looking to pay off some debt um, that my parents have that I'm ready to like pay off on their behalf, right? That was my first motivation. The second motivation was to build like on-chain finance, my own bank on the blockchain. I got a taste of it last cycle with Luna and Anchor Protocol and using collateral assets and a smart contract. So I got a taste of it through Liquidity and then Anchor Protocol. And I wanted more of that. I wanted to be able to manage my own assets as collateral, like a home equity line, and borrow against it and manage my equity with a smart contract. I wanted to do that. So I was looking for that, a banking on the blockchain. That's when, that's why when Ouroboros showed up, I was like, I want it. I'm willing to help. How do we do this? Right. Um, so that was the first thing I wanted was, and so that's what Ouroboros has provided the opportunity of is like this, like borrowing and lending yield, real yield opportunity on the blockchain in a decentralized DAO governed fair access crypto, which Ouroboros is. The other thing that I wanted was um, to be able to have an explosive like the token economics, like become part of a diamond hand holder crew from the beginning and get in early in some high growth. That's why I initially went into Titanx because I thought that that would be Titanx, that like there was the potential there, and it still could be, but that's not. It didn't turn into a diamond hand But that's what Ouroboros is. It's turning into like this diamond hand magnet where you need Ouroboros and Auryn in order to participate in the growth. You need it. It's the demand equation. There's going to be so much demand for Ouroboros and Auryn when we expand the total value locked and the fees attached to it, right? And so I did want this, like, I didn't, I didn't know exactly what it looked like, but I wanted like this banking on the blockchain. And I also wanted this exponential growth opportunity to be part of like the early stage of like really great technology, right? And so that's what I feel like we got with Ouroboros, and I think that's why it has exponential growth potential. It's not a meme. It's memeable. There's a lot of memes that can come out of it, but it's not a meme. It's pure freaking banking on the blockchain. It's smart contracts, it's math, it's code. The technology is deep. This new freaking staking protocol has like 11,000 lines of codes or something. It's real. It's real build. And it's radical in its vision for how do you use the Liquidity code to build what Shadowy has done, which is to build a exponentially scalable system, decentralized, right? All right, I gotta go. I'm about to lose my iPad battery. I have to go carve some and work some, and peace out, y'all. Thank you for joining me. If anybody was here, I have no idea, and I'm sorry. Sorry that the audio. I don't know why that happens. I think it's the internet where I am.